What's going down? This is your man Don T of Don T Records Music Group, and today I want to talk about side chaining your bass to your kick. That's right, side chaining your bass to your kick. If you don't know how to do this, you want to watch this video, okay? I'm going to do this in Pro Tools. However, you can do this in any DAW, okay? Long as your plugins, the plugins that you're using has a side chain feature, okay? Now, the importance of this, if you're looking for a better mix, this is what you want to do. It's going to clean up your low end. It's going to separate the bass and the kick, so you'll be able to hear your kick punch through the mix, okay? And you want to hear that thump. You want to hear that punch in the kick. Because if you don't, what'll happen is your bass and your kick will be fighting for the same space. And so this is going to mask your kick, so you can't hear the punch. It's going to mask your bass somewhat, so you can't hear your bass frequencies, okay? So it's important to use side chaining if you're looking for a polished professional mix, okay? Now I'm going to show you this using the Waves F6, the Waves C6, and then I'm going to use the Fabfilter Pro Q3 and the Fabfilter Multiband compressor, okay? That way you can decide on which plugin you want to use side chaining. And you can also use a compressor also. Now this is not one plugin that I would use as a compressor, because I like to use either a multiband or an EQ with the sidechain feature. So you already know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. And if you got any comments you want to leave below, leave your comments, okay? So we're going to jump into this. I'm going to show you, starting with the Waves F6, on how to do side chaining. I'm going to give you some examples of what I am hearing when you don't do side chaining, and you're going to hear it too. So get your headphones on, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go. All right, so check it out. So right here I got the Waves F6, and right now I have a side chain set up, okay? First things first, this is my kick channel right here. And I have a side chain, let me bring that down so you can see it, set up, okay? And it's on the send, okay? And I got that at 0 because I want the full signal to come through as I'm side chaining. So I got this on 0, as you can see here. It's on 0, all right? Now, here's the bass right here, bass track, okay? And right here, you see this key. If you've never done this before, you see this key. Now, some of you may have, so if you have, just let me talk to the people that haven't, okay? All right, so you got this key right here. So I want to go and set up that key. So I got to go to the bus, set it up, okay? Now, I'm not going to be using anything in the spectrum up here, probably above 100 hertz, because my kick's not going to be up that high, and the thump of my kick is going to be below 100, okay? So I'm going to first, with this plug-in, I don't have to turn all these off, but if you want to, that's up to you, but you don't have to turn them off. So I'm going to dial this in right now. This frequency on the low end is at 100 right here. I got it on a low shelf. And so you can use a low shelf, or you can use a bell, whatever you prefer. Use whatever sounds the best. So I'll go back and forth between the low shelf and the bell, trying to dial in where the fundamental frequency of the kick is, because you want to target the fundamental frequency of the kick, because if you don't, then you're not going to hear the punch of the kick. All right, and so how do you identify the fundamental frequency of the kick? Is where the kick is the biggest, where you see the most volume in the spectrum. That's where the fundamental of the kick is going to be, okay? All right, so I got this at 100. I got a Q at 1 because it's pretty wide, but I got a low shelf anyway, so that's not really going to matter that much. My gain's still 0. I got a range at -6 dB, and so when the kick hits, this is about how much the bass is going to be reduced, okay? And then here's the threshold. You kind of dial that in, listen with your ears. Got a fast attack because as soon as the kick hits, I want that bass to get out of the way. All right, and then release time, kind of like a mild release time right here, because I want to allow the full kick to be heard, okay? So I want to have a fast release when the kick hits and you hear the initial transient of the kick, the bass then comes back up. So you want to play with that too, and a lot of times try to get it in rhythm with the beat itself, okay? Now, over here, you on this plugin, you got the source, you got the sidechain source, which you want to make sure this is on external, okay? So you got internal here, and you got external. External will allow the kick to trigger the sidechain, okay? And not just the internal where the bass would do its own thing every time the bass hit, it wouldn't duck for the kick, okay? Unless they were both hitting at the same time, then that'd be a different thing, different story, okay? All right, so you got split mode and wide mode. Right now, I'm just gonna leave it on split mode. And so let's take a listen what's going on with the F6, okay? Let's take a listen. And right now it's already sidechain, and I'm gonna bypass it in a minute so you can hear the difference. All right, so let's take a listen. Okay, so pretty much, if you could hear that, you can hear how the kick got masked when I bypassed this plugin. And then when I activated this plugin, you could hear the mix just open up, and you can start to hear more of the mix. It got brighter, the low end got more cleaner, and you can hear the punch of the kick more. Let's take one more listen, and then I'm gonna bring up another plugin. All right, so let's take another listen. Okay, so we're gonna move on to now the Pro Q3 by Fabfilter. We're gonna move on to with that. We're gonna move it on up, activate it. And actually this here, I'm just using a bell on this one. This is actually my go-to for side chaining. It's right now, it's in auto side chain right here. Basically, it's actually external, let me say, side chain right here. It's basically automatic. The Pro Q4 is a little different. You can adjust the attack and release time, but in this case, I got it in automatic. I got -3 dB up here. I got my side chain set up, and this here being pressed down is set to external. Let's take a listen. And if you looked at this frequency analyzer, you can actually see the red line is the actual kick. All right, let me show you one more time. And you can see where the fundamental frequency is right here. So that's where the fundamental frequency is, and that's where I'm dipping the bass out so that the kick can punch through. This is pretty much my go-to plug-in when I'm doing side chaining with my bass and my kick is the Pro Q3. I like how it sounds. It just really sounds good. Let's take one more listen. All All right, so that's the Pro Q3. Next plugin we're gonna go to is Multiband Compressor. And the one I'm gonna start with is the Waves C6, which everybody probably have. All right, so I don't know if I can make this any bigger. I guess I can't. All right, so with this plugin right here, I bypass all the rest of the frequencies here in the mids, the highs, and all that because I'm not using it, okay? And then pretty much I got the low end right here at 94. I got it set to external, right? So the kick will trigger this to duck out the way. You can see it's got a range right here of -8, so it's gonna dip out. That's attack time, and it's got the release time, okay? Let's take a listen. Yeah, and of course, you can dial this in even more to open it up, to allow the kick to breathe even more. But right now, I'm not going to do that because I just want to give you an example of the tools you can use to do side chaining, to clean that low end up. And you can adjust on this plugin, of course, you can adjust to the range some more, give a faster attack time to get out the way, and also a longer release time so it doesn't release right away, to clean that up a little bit more, okay? So let's go to the next plugin. And that is the Fabfilter Pro MB. Let's take a look. All right. So same thing here. You got the threshold, you got your range again, attack time, release time, output, and you got the band, which is on the side chain. And basically you can have a free band where it will allow another frequency. If I turn that on, you can move this around here, another frequency to trigger the side chain, basically on the kick, another frequency on the kick to trigger the side chain. But I want the low end to trigger the side chain. So you got your internal, external. Of course, you want external so the kick can trigger the bass to duck out of the way. And so let's take a listen with the Pro MB. And I'm using a bell instead of a low shelf. And I can use a low shelf as well. If you use a low shelf, you want this, use your ears, of course, but about 100 from here to there, all the way up to 100 on this side. And then if you were to use a low shelf, you just bring this back right here. All right. Well, right now I got it in the bell. So let's take a listen. Now, if I would put this in a low shelf, let's see what that sounds like. All right, I kind of like the bell better, but of course you can dial this in even more. You just play around with the attack times, the release times, the threshold, so that it kicks in even more and a lot harder. So this was side chaining, all right? Side chaining in Pro Tools, get the bass out of the way of the kick so you can hear the punch of the kick, the attack of the kick, for a better mix, for a cleaner low end, for a more open mix, and so forth. I mean, it just sounds a whole lot better, night and day. So if you got any more questions about side chaining, just hit me up. Leave me a comment below, and I'll get back to you or whatever. We can have a sidebar conversation. It doesn't matter to me, but this is side chaining. And so that's pretty much it. I want you to go out there and side chain, guys. Go out there and side chain. Make that low end sound clean. Make it sound strong and powerful. and you know, because you don't want that build up in your mix. Okay, it's gonna open the mix up. It's just gonna sound more professional. All right. So that's it. That's all I got for you. You have a good time this evening, today, whatever time frame you're in. I'll see you next time. This is Don T of Don T Records Music Group. Peace. Deuces.